Welcome to Rick's Scale Model Fix and another kit review. This time it's Eduards' brand new release of their 148 A6M2 0 Type 21 in their Profi Pack Edition boxing. So carrying out the box top tour, we've got some lovely artwork on the lid. On one side we've got the marking options included in the kit for 5 machines. Your kit number for this one is 82212. Just on the box ends you've got the artwork repeated for the scale and kit number. So without further ado, let's lift the lid and see what we have inside. So we've got separate bagged canopy, the airframe parts in a single bag. There's about 3 or 4 sprues in there. Glossy A4 size instruction booklet, decals, canopy masks and etch. So taking a look through the instruction booklet, it's printed to Eduard's usual high standard on heavy glossy paper. Just on the front page there's some history about the type. Turning the page we have the parts map, and this is our first indication of future variants to come with the greyed out parts not for use. Have canopy mask, photo etch, no brassing with this one because it's the Profi Pack, not a limited edition, and we've got cross reference to Mr. Colour, mission models, and I think that's it. Yep. So construction starts on page 3 with some cockpit details. So this is going to be made up of photo etch, or you could just use the plastic parts if you wish. Just have a look, see which you prefer. Obviously there'll be a weekend edition, I would imagine, at some point from Eduard of this boxing. So it's just worthy of noting that whichever marking option you've decided, that you need to just make a note of which parts are applicable to which, because they're labelled right the way through there. So looking at the cockpit at the bottom of page 3, it does look as though it's really enhanced with that etched, and it does look quite nice. Turning the page and cockpit continues, this time with the seat. Etched harnesses, which is a nice touch. Once they're built, but rudder pedals are replaced with etch as well, should that be your want. Seat coming together with the rear bulkhead, again a lot of detail there, but the plastic does look good as well. We'll have a look and we go through the sprues. Everything's centred around the floor of the cockpit, with the items being added to complete assembly. And then we've got more photo etch to enhance this sidewall detail, I think it is, and again just be careful of the relevant options. Page 5, sidewalls coming together around that central cockpit feature. Instrument panel, again you've got decals or etch, or the plastic parts even, and again just be mindful of what options you need for the colour markings that you've chosen to build. More cockpit details, and this time the guns, and I'm assuming oxygen cylinders, just completing that mini assembly at the bottom of page 5. Page 6 sees the fuselage come together, so we need to do some painting inside, and it's called out there with the rudder coming together, cockpit slotted in from underneath, which is what I like because you can work on that upper seam if need be, and the cowling without risking any damage to your pre-painted cockpit. Single span lower wing section, to which some drop-in panels, again hints at further versions, and some wheel well detail there. That's continued over the page with more wheel well detail going in to complete that section. So it's just saying again, just be mindful, there's some options that you need to be aware of, and it's also just pointing out the fit there as well, which needs to look as though it clicks in over the edge of the trailing edge of the lower wing. Got clear landing lights, clear navigation lights, position lights there, and the wingtips. Two-piece tailplane with elevators being slotted in. We'll have to see if we can position those. And the ailerons are separate pieces as we saw on the previous page, but the flaps aren't drop. Eduard do an extra add-on set. So you've got some seat cushions there and some call-out paint guides along the way. Attention of the build then turns to the engine, and that looks to be made up from numerous plastic parts with the addition of photo etch, and for the scale that's going to look quite nice bolted on the front of the airframe there. Bomb for the kamikaze option E, or a different bomb for marking D, and they're only representative of those two options in the kit. Nice thought with Eduard, the cowl is separate pieces, so it's built up around a central drum, so be careful not to get glue on that, and that's going to make sure that you get the cowling in the correct diameter to slot over the engine at the bottom of page 10 to cover up all that hard work. Undercarriage, main gear again, addition of photo etch parts, looks to be quite well detailed. Some nice little exploded views just to show you where everything goes. The arrestor hook going in, and then it's showing you the position of everywhere as it should be in relation to the ground. A few more little detail parts, so etch fret going in, etch parts going in, drop tank or bombs depending on your options, and again options for the propeller, making sure that you get the right ones matched up for the individual aircraft you're modelling, so that it's E7 or E9 different spinners. Some of the more breakable bits for the cockpit, gun sight, etc. Canopy frameworks provided with extra detail in form of photo etched, and you can have the canopy open or closed. The propeller going on the front, pitot tubes and navigation lights being added. That draws build to an end, so you've got the location for the mask set, which is going to be handy with that greenhouse canopy. And then we've got the highlight of all Eduard kits are the options. So we've got, I'll just quickly go through these. So if you're already aware, they've released a Tora option, which is 2 kits in the box, and they're all Pearl Harbor markings. So this follows on with this one. Again, you have got Pearl Harbor markings for 1, 2 airframes in this kit, but then you've got the additional ones, as we can see here, for further different camo schemes or variations of that grey colour. And then finally we've got green and a weird sort of patchwork effect green over the grey, and I think they were kamikaze ones towards the end of the war there. Back page of the instruction book covers all the stencil data. Doesn't look to be too much, shouldn't take you too long to apply those. With this being Profi pack kit, we have the colour photo etch, which is included, and the yellow masks for the cockpit and the wheels. Turning our attention to the decals, I'm going to assume that these are Eduard's new type, or newish type now. I've only used them once on the FW190 and didn't like them. They were very, very thin, and the carrier film caused some problems. So I think care will be the watchword when trying to apply these. But nonetheless, the rest of the FW190, once I'd got used to working with them, they did work quite well in a traditional sense of adding the decal and adding a setting solution on top. I didn't then venture to try and move the carrier film, as Eduard insists that they were never intended to be used like that. Small little decal sheet also is provided, and that includes some of the stencil data for all the model options. Turning our attention to the clear parts, and there's certainly various options to come from Eduard, and there's certainly a mass of unused parts there. All look to be up to the usual Eduard standard, well moulded with no mould flaws or flash or anything other than perfect clear parts. Taking a look at the fuselage sprue, this is sprue B in this kit, and we have an absolutely stunning render of the Zero. I don't know if the camera will pick this up, but the rivet detail on that is something to behold. You're going to have to be very careful with your application of your primer and top colour coats not to obscure that, but with care and a wash, that is going to look absolutely sensational. It's consistent over the airframe, there's no sort of missing bits when it goes over the curved surfaces. There's a little bit of a edge to some of the plastic parts, but nothing that a quick zip round with a sanding sponge is going to cure just before you make those up. Can't really see much in the way of any visible ejector pin marks. There are some dotted about, which is inevitable. Sprue C contains the wings, and you've got some drop-in panels which are accommodated there for the different versions, and again that rendering of the plastic is carried over onto the wings, and I've not seen better. This is absolutely brilliant. It is totally consistent, it's lovely and smooth and well rendered. Hopefully the fit of the kit will be up to the standard that we've become accustomed to with Eduard, otherwise you could have some problems trying to replicate some of that rivet detail, should you need to, if you've sanded anything down. Ailerons look good, again no sink marks or visible ejector pin marks anywhere that could interfere with your build. Turning our attention now to sprue E, and we have the weaponry, wheels, spinners. There's the two types that we mentioned in the instruction booklet. Wheels, no weight on wheels, which is unfortunate. Propeller blade, everything looks nice, well moulded, no short shots, no flash, very minimal clean up there during your build. So this is sprue D, which contains the engine parts and the cockpit detailing, let alone without the photo etch, is good enough. The weekend kit, when it is eventually released, is going to be a bargain. It's very nice. So with careful painting and weathering, the cockpit's going to look really nice. Instrument panel wise, well, I'd supply a blank smooth one for your etch parts, or one that's got slight raised bezels that you're going to use the kit decals on there for, I would imagine. All in all, very nice. Seat has got the holes drilled through the back, maybe a little bit overscale, but certainly a nice attempt, save you drilling out those lightning holes for yourself. So all in all, quite impressed with that kit. For the price, I think it was 28 UK pounds. I think it's an absolute bargain in these days where kits in 48 scale are costing upwards of £50 plus. Early reports that I've seen on the internet of the build of the Tora one, to all intents and purposes it's a faultless build and very easy to put together. So I look forward to getting this on the workbench in due course. It's not a topic I'm familiar with. Very limited experience of building anything from the Japanese World War II or even more modern, so it'll be a learning curve for me as well, so hopefully you'll join me for that journey. So I'll give this a Rick scale model rating of 5 out of 5. Highly recommended to probably even the novice that's got a couple of kits just under their belt, just due to the level of detail and the care that it's going to take just to bring all that together. So there we have Eduards' brand new 1/48 scale Profi pack boxing of their A6M2 Type 21. So until next time, everybody, please look after yourselves, stay well and take care.